Imagine this: a sunny summer festival, kids laughing, music drifting through the air, and my 12-year-old daughter, Lily, beaming with pride next to her tech project display. She's in her wheelchair, her face glowing as she prepares to show off an app she's poured months into creating. Then, in a heartbeat, everything changes. A pair of perfectly manicured hands grips her wheelchair, and with a calculated shove, Lily tumbles into a muddy pit dug for a tug-of-war game. Her pride turns to shock, then humiliation as she lands in the muck, her laptop cracking beside her. The woman responsible? Cynthia Harrow, the HOA president, who thought a disabled kid didn't fit her VY shown of a perfect community photo. She had no idea who she was dealing with. My name's Marcus Kane, a 43-year-old single dad raising Lily after losing my wife, Sarah, in a terrorist bombing at the American Embassy in Ankara 3 years ago. Sarah was a diplomatic attaché. Lily was VY citing her that day. The blast stole Sarah's life and left Lily paralyzed from the waist down. I was deployed overseas, a regret that haunts me. I'm a former Navy SEAL, now a senior counterterrorism VY SOAR for the CIA, specializing in spotting threats before they erupt. I've spent years studying how ordinary people spiral into extremism, yet I missed the threat brewing in our own neighborhood. 6 months ago, we moved to Willow Grove, a gated community near Milan, Virginia, for its security, top-notch schools, and proximity to Lily's physical therapy center. The house was ideal, already equipped with ramps and modifications. Our realtor promised a tight-knit community with monthly events and pristine common areas. What she didn't mention was Cynthia Harrow, the HOA tyrant in her early 50s, with her designer outfits and a smile that judged whether you belonged. Her husband, Edward Harrow, was a big shot at a defense contracting firm, fueling her delusion of untouchable power. Our first run-in with Cynthia set the tone. It was MOVYing day, and Lily and I were guiding movers with her equipment. Cynthia strolled up, clipboard in hand, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Welcome to Willow Grove," she said, eyeing Lily's wheelchair in my face, which hints at my mixed African-American and Hispanic roots. How diverse we're becoming. Then, with a tight smile, she added, "Medical equipment should be stored out of sight to maintain our aesthetic standards." Lily, sharp as her mom, looked up and said, "It's not medical equipment. It's my wheelchair. I use it like you use your legs." Cynthia's smile froze. "Aren't you articulate?" she replied, clearly rattled by a kid speaking up. I stepped in, hand on Lily's shoulder. "The ADA and Fair Housing Act have guidelines you're familiar with, right? They protect accommodations like this." Cynthia's eyes flashed hostility, but she handed me a rule book and walked off. Lily whispered, "She doesn't like us, does she, Dad?" I said, "She doesn't know us yet," but my instincts were already on alert. Over the next few months, Cynthia's harassment was relentless, but subtle violation notices for our ramp's inconsistent design, Lily's adaptive bike in the driveway, our specialized van looking too commercial. Each time, I countered with legal references, and she'd back off, only to find another rule to weaponize. It was a slow grind, a message carved in paperwork. You don't belong. But Lily thrived despite it. She aced school, especially coding, and built an app to help people with mobility issues navigate public spaces. When the summer festival announced a youth tech showcase, she was thrilled to present her work. "Will people get it, Dad?" she asked, tweaking her display. "They don't have disabilities." I quoted Sarah, "Innovation that helps one group helps everyone." Lily's eyes lit up with determination. The festival was picture-perfect booths, games, a band, and a reporter from Elite, Lee VY, Ing magazine trailing Cynthia, who was desperate to land Willow Grove in their top 10 luxury communities list. Lily's display drew a crowd, her app impressing even the reporter, Tara Blake, who wanted a photo for her article. Cynthia swooped in, steering Tara away. "Let's see the professional displays," she urged, her smile tight. I stepped away briefly to grab Lily's materials, Leah VYing her with her friend Mia and Mia's mom, Dr. Nora Chun, a child psychologist who'd been a warm ally. That's when it happened. Cynthia, spotting Lily in the foreground of the magazine's photos, decided a wheelchair didn't fit her curated image. She asked Lily to move. Lily calmly explained she was part of the showcase. Witnesses later said Cynthia whispered something that made Lily's eyes widen and hurt. Then, as the photographer called for a group shot, Cynthia pushed Lily's wheelchair toward the mud pit. Nora shouted, but it was too late. Lily toppled in, mud swallowing her pride. I heard her cry as I raced back, my heart pounding like I was back in a war zone. There was my girl, sprawled in the muck, her wheelchair tipped, tears streaming as she struggled. Nora was at her side, mud-stained, trying to help. A crowd gaped, shocked. Cynthia stood back, feigning concern. "Oh, Bella, how did that happen? You shouldn't have gotten so close with that wheelchair." I lifted Lily, checking for injuries. "Just my pride," she whispered, trembling. "She pushed me, Dad. She said I was ruining the photos." Cynthia played the VY Tim, loud for the crowd. "It was an accident. Wheelchairs are so unstable on uneven ground." Nora stood, furious. "I saw you push her deliberately." Cynthia gasped, "That's slander." But I'd seen liars before her micro-expressions, her deflections. She thought her status shielded her. Multiple people saw it. I said, my voice ice-cold, cradling Lily. "This wasn't an accident." Cynthia doubled down, sneering. "Where were you when your disabled daughter was wandering unsupervised?" VY said. Something in me snapped, not rage, but the cold focus of a SEAL in a firefight. "Cynthia," I said, my voice carrying, "you pushed my daughter into the mud because you didn't want her in your photos. You've harassed us since we moved here, escalating to assault." Her face reddened. "Do you know who my husband is?" "Edward Harrow runs Sentinel Defense." I nodded. "I know the company, and you should know me." Marcus Kane, Senior Counterterrorism Ad VY SOAR, CIA, former SEAL Team 6. "I analyzed threats for a Lee VYing, and you just made a grave mistake." Cynthia paled, but before she could retort, Colonel Henry Walsh, a retired Air Force officer, stepped forward with an iPad. "My security cameras caught everything," he said, playing a crystal-clear VY Deo of Cynthia's act. Gasps rippled through the crowd. "I've sent this to the HOA board and my attorney," he added. Cynthia's composure cracked. "This is a setup," she shrieked. Tara Blake, pen in hand, asked, "Mrs. Harrow, care to explain which elements don't belong in Willow Grove?" Cynthia, realizing she was being recorded, stormed off, demanding security remove us. The guard glanced at the VY Deo and backed away. I held Lily close. "We're Leah VYing, but this isn't over." The next evening, Colonel Walsh, an HOA board member, called an emergency meeting. The community center was packed, many there to support Lily. The VY Deo played undeniable. Residents shared their own stories of Cynthia's bias against minorities and disabled families. Edward Harrow, there with a lawyer, looked stunned. He stood, voice tight. "To the Kane family, I'm sorry. My wife's obsession with appearances went too far. My company works with the government. This is a disaster." The board voted unanimously to oust Cynthia, with Walsh as interim president. We settled out of court. A public apology, a donation to Lily's therapy center, Cynthia's resignation, and mandatory training. The festival was rescheduled, spotlighting inclusion. Lily's app went viral, catching a tech incubator's eye. Tara's article praised Willow Grove's inclusive VY tie, featuring Lily. The Harrow's house sold at a loss after the VY Deo spread online. Edward faced a company probe. Lily, though, found new strength. "My wheelchair is my power," she told me one night. "It's how I move forward." Willow Grove transformed. Walsh's leadership brought ramps, inclusive events, and an inclusion committee with Nora as chair and Lily as youth rep. Lily's app grew, earning her a national magazine feature. Edward, post-divorce, set up a college fund for Lily and became an inclusion advocate. I wove our story into a CIA training module on discrimination as extremism's root. The mud pit, now an accessible water feature, Lily's idea. Lily, now 13, got a letter from a girl who used her app to explore freely. "This makes the mud worth it," she said, tears in her eyes. Mud pits can be obstacles or fertile ground for growth if you rise. What would you do if someone targeted your child for being different? Should people like Cynthia face jail time? Or is public shame enough? Can communities truly change? Or do they just hide their biases better? Share your thoughts, like, and subscribe for more stories of justice.